February 8th. I just finished welcoming my students, and this class is being recorded. So I'm going to switch my camera over now, and we're going to start the week 5 module today. All right, so welcome again, and let's get started. I'm going to share my entire screen. Close this window. There's the YouTube channel that we have. And then we're going to, I mentioned earlier, we're wrapping up the Illustrator module in 2 weeks. So this is week 5, week 6, week 7. I'd also mentioned that you're not going to get an exam in this class. It's more like a creative project, which I'm going to assign to you today, and you'll have a few weeks to finish it. So this will prepare you for the final project. This is called the sun gradients. I know we covered gradients slightly last week with the UI kit, but this one really covers it in depth, and you're really going to unearth all the different possibilities the Illustrator can handle when it comes to like advanced fills. Okay, so that's what gradients would do. Let's go ahead and download this file here. I'm going to go right to the desktop. And then we're also going to do the logo challenge just to keep up our technical skill going in the program. And I do also recall giving you the letter S to trace last week as well. Did you practice the pen tool at all? Who practiced a little more of the pen tool? It's okay, you're not the only one. Maybe somebody else practiced too. All right. But practice it, okay? Because that's, look, I gave you the actual file. You really want to get good at this tool, you know, it's definitely worth investing the time to do it. All right, so tracing S, we covered that in last week's video as well. So this is due next week, okay? Make sure you do all these. A lot of students ask me, well, you know, what should I put in the UI kit? This little picture has a lot of examples of what I'm looking for. So try to follow a consistent theme, you know, put some nice eye candy graphics in there. You don't have to get too over the top, but make sure it looks nice and balanced. I know I said I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I just always get asked questions, right? If you want to look at examples online, there's all kinds of different UI kits you can gauge your, you know, examples from and stuff, right? There's all kinds of stuff you can look at. And yeah, just this is a good example, like right here. This is a perfect example, actually. Because you see, when you make a kit like that, it's easy for you to adapt it to like an app or like a functioning website. Because then all the graphics are done, basically. You just have to plug in the buttons. Even if you're using CSS, right? You can still at least get your colors, your hexacode, right? You got your programmatic functions, all that stuff. So it's definitely a good, the UI kit portfolio piece too. Okay, you're gonna develop a portfolio. You're gonna show the UX side as well. I know you have UX with, is it Felice that teaching you UX? Are you guys doing XD or Figma? XD? Okay, so XD again, this will definitely fall in line with that. Okay. All right, so enough with the UI kit. That's due, like I said, next week, Thursday, February the 15th. And now I'm going to ask you to, so once you download the sun gradient, last week we finished the Android logo, and we saw different ways of approaching objects and tracing and creating graphics. The logo challenge is a continuation from when we left off last week, so let's start with that, and then we'll get into the sun gradients. And honestly, we're doing really well. Like as far as our list of items for this semester, it's nicely all executed, very nice. Okay, so the extra class that we'll have, we'll do like an overall review, and I'm going to give you some more advanced stuff to learn, all right, in the program. And let's go ahead and open up the logo challenge first. Just going to open up this file here. So we're going to go to the folder. There's another UI kit I was showing you online. I think it's in week number or class number 3, the logo challenge. All right. So we did already. We did like 4 of these. As I mentioned, we don't have to do the entire set because a lot of them are like similar and repetitive. But I do want you to pick something different, present a different challenge for us as well. So which one do you want to do next? The house. Okay, the house is nice because it's different. We did cover a lot of step and repeat. Remember, we did angular distribution, 30-degree, 360. We covered that quite a bit with those examples there. The house is more like a tracing exercise, but I would like to definitely cover that. That's a good one, actually. So the house, let's go. Zoom in. Right here, okay? Now keep in mind, this is a low quality, JPEG that we're tracing it from, which creates a perfect scenario why you do this. Sometimes all somebody's going to give you is a sketch or a rare rough of an idea or a picture or something, and your job is to recreate it in a vector format. That's why you produce it for whatever reason. So this is, let's say, one of those things. You can zoom in. Let's do the house first. It's probably the easiest thing to draw. It is a geometrical shape. It doesn't involve any curves. It's just straight angles and lines. So if you select the pen tool, okay, you can start with that. It's just the easiest way to do it right now. When you have the pen tool selected, make sure the fill is disabled. So the fill here, the white fill, is going to be set to none. And the black stroke will be pretty much active. And then I'll start tracing. My stroke thickness is 1 point. And I always start at the corner of any angle. So either I start at the rooftop here, the chimney, or the left edge of the house. As I'm analyzing this picture, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 main objects like the trees, and then maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 with the little details. So it should take us more like 5 minutes to do this. All right, so let's start with this. You click once, and notice how this is following you. I'm not doing any special option command. I'll be very detailed when I do press a shortcut. So I'm just clicking once, second click, third click. Now you can hold shift here. You know why? Because shift always gives you a straight angle. In this case, it'll be a 90, a 45, or something like that. So I could press shift click, and shift click. This other angle here, this is not a perfect 45, so I'm not going to hold shift. I'm just going to match the angular position and just click here once, twice, click again. Maybe here I can hold shift. It's a straight line. So notice how I'm pressing shift on the ones that go perfectly vertical or horizontal. Okay, like these ones here. This way it's perfectly in line. And then I'm just going to join it exactly where I started. This pretty much is the drawing of the house. Should I bother with drawing this rectangle, or should I just draw a rectangle? Just draw a rectangle, right? So I'm just going to go to the rectangle tool. Very simple. Draw a simple rectangle like this. Right? So that was pretty easy. The only thing is now we have to execute the pathfinder. So this is like one object here, another one over there. So I'm just going to use the eyedropper tool and fill this blue and select this rectangle here, the window of the house. I'm going to swap the properties. So I'm going to click on this little switcheroo tool here. This will switch the fill to become a stroke and the stroke to become a fill. I don't care what color the window is, because eventually or ultimately I will just shift select both objects and punch a hole through it to make it look like a real window. So I'm just going to use the pathfinder tool. which is right here, and do minus front. Let me know if I'm going too fast. I'm trying to judge your facial expressions and things, so I'll slow down, okay? I'll stop here actually, I won't do anything else. So draw the house, just click, 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 click with the pen tool. And the window, you can draw it also separately. It's minus front. Minus front. But you want to make sure the house is still blue, right? The house is blue. And the window can be kind of this before. House is good. House. Selection tool. Window. Switch thing here. To the right here. Then half right. It looks easy, but there's a few steps that you can miss. It'll kind of throw you off. So I want to make sure everybody understands it. Make sure the house is selected first. Okay. I'm gonna go over here. Okay. As I walk around, I see a similar little speed bump for everyone. So let me just cover this important thing. A lot of you have this house. Let me just undo. Okay. You have the house like this, right? You have to fill it first. So you gotta always use the dark arrow, the main selection tool. Not stay away from the lighter one, because that one's good for editing the points. We're not editing the points, we're just selecting the house. And you can't click the house like this because there's nothing there. You have to click on the edge to select the object, right? So make sure you click on the heavy outline, and then with the eyedropper, just click inside the blue, give it the blue fill. Well, you can just pick any color, but that's the one we're reflecting. And then go back to the selection tool, click on the window. Remember the window? Look, it's see-through, right? Well, I want to give it a solid color. So the quickest way to do that is to switch the fill and the stroke over here. You see the switch? Just do the switch, or you can just pick a fill any color. And then you just use the pathfinder to knock the window through the house. So you shift, select the two, and use the pathfinder and the second button. Some of you notice using the menu. The menu would be under effect, Pathfinder minus front. Subtract. Oops. It's minus front. Where's the minus front here? I hardly use this. Minus back. Oh, yeah. Pathfinder. No. Yeah, just use the button. Use this button here. Probably better. Look for the Pathfinder this way. Okay, and just use the second button, which is minus front. And then you have this house done. You can move it around if you want to make sure it's completely finished, right? If you guys forgot the door or something like that, no problem. You can just draw like another object. Let's say I want to do another window over here. I'll just draw another shape, right? And you can just go Shift, Select, minus front again if you want. You can always make additions and stuff. Okay, so once that's done, now we have to draw the little pathway. Are we okay now with this? All right. It's a good review, these little drawings that we're making, these logos and icons. So this little pathway, that's a pen tool thing. So this is really show me how many of you practice the pen tool during the week. So with the pen tool, again, same rules apply as we drew the house, but this time we're drawing the little pathway. When you start, make sure you have stroke and color that you want, and the fill is set to, okay? Oh, got an audience. See you guys. I'm gonna mute you for a second, okay? Good. All right. So same thing goes with the path. Make sure you have a stroke with no fill. I'm gonna click over here on this flat line on the bottom. I'm gonna click once, and watch this now. I'm gonna go halfway through the path. I'm just analyzing it first. I'm gonna go around here. I'm gonna click and drag the mouse this way. See, so it's a nice curve going along the direction I wanted this curve to be formed, okay? And then I'm gonna go all the way to the front here. I'm gonna click and drag the mouse this way, okay? And then now it's time to cut the path here. So just go click once. I'm gonna go click again over here. This doesn't have to be perfect, but do your best. Then I'll cut this one here, click again, and connect it where I started. That's how you can draw the path. This takes some practice. Okay, so remember that S. So if you're having a problem with this path, I recommend you do the S tracing exercise I left you with last week, because that one will really keep you, on your on the path to using the pen tool properly. I'm just gonna sit down here. And then I'll just simply select the path. I'll use the eyedropper, and I'm going to just use the eyedropper to be the same color as the path. Doesn't have to be perfect, just do your best. And the trees are just a simple object of basically doing the same thing here. Like that. Right. Don't worry about the small tree. We'll just do one. We'll send this one to the back. Right click, arrange, send to back. Right. And for the little palm leaves and stuff, you can use the pen tool if you want. Just go, honestly, I'll leave this up to you because it's very hard to tell the detail. I'm just gonna make this green for now, and I'm just gonna draw the other ones very similar to what it's supposed to look like that. It's very hard to see these things like this here. Okay, so it's a little, right? Honestly, don't worry about this little tree here. It's hard to even make out what it is. This one, I'm just gonna go like this here. Just click. Look, I'm cutting the points quite a bit. I do this, cut the points, and I do that, right? I do this here, I cut the points, I go all the way back, and then perhaps I'm gonna do this one. And like I said, doesn't matter about this, the tree part, because it's very difficult to gauge the detail. So I'm just gonna go like this for now. It's good enough, right? All in all, when you group this together, you should get like a better design than the original JPEG. And better yet, you're practicing these methods on how to execute these drawings. We did all the important ones, though, just by looking at the whole thing here. We did all the important ones. I mean, we can do one or two more that are, but everything else, I'm looking at clipping masks, step and repeat, drawing. We did all the important ones anyways. I'm going to zoom into this one. How are we going to do this? Any ideas? We're going to be here till midnight. I mean, I'm joking, but it's so biological kind of formation. It's not even, it's a blob, right? It's like a splatter of paint. I'm going to show you a technique that'll do this very easy with minimal effort. How does that sound? But I need you to do what I'm doing. Zoom right in. I'm going to teach you how to do a target screen capture, which will capture the image and then transform this into a separate file. I don't know if the PC can do this. On the Mac, I'm very used to the shortcuts. On the Windows operating system, if you zoom in, I think you can do Windows S, am I right? Windows Shift S, and what happens if you do that? You get to select the area, and where does it save? In the pictures folder? Or does it go in copy and paste?
Yeah.
Are you using Windows 11? The screen, okay. So it doesn't go in RAM. How do you send it to RAM? So you can copy and paste it. Because this is what I like about the Mac. And trust me, at home I use Windows 11 too, but I have a screen, I use a snippet tool when I do certain screen captures, right? I got a snippet tool I use. But for the Mac, what I do is this. I have Command-Shift-4. Watch this now. I go up here, I hold Control, I do a selection like this. I let go of the mouse, I let go of Control, I zoom out, I use the selection tool again, and I press Command-V. I just paste it as a separate picture. So you can do that, right? Okay, perfect. So then we have no problems. And the reason why we're doing this is because it has to be extracted separately in order for us to use this function, okay? The special feature. And this special feature is called image trace. And back in my earlier days when I started this thing, it was called Adobe Streamline. And even then it wasn't perfect because it converted images into vector shapes. And even till today, it's not perfect. You still have to involve a human doing it with a technical skill that you guys are learning as well. Even AI is not there yet. Because pixels are very, very, finite stuff. So here we go. We select this, right? Let's use the AI built into the Adobe Illustrator. So we're going to go up here under image trace, but do me a favor. So hold on, let me just wait first because I don't know if everybody's okay. Are we done with the house yet or no? The house is done? Don't worry if it's finished or not. Just try to do your best to get most of it done. Like if you're having a problem with the path, do the S tool exercise on your time, please. But I want you to understand that how important learning these techniques are too, right? For the blob, zoom in, screen capture, copy and paste. If you can't copy and paste on your computer, I'm sure it's saved somewhere. Just go to File, Place. Like if I'm using Windows right now and I don't know my shortcut, I'll use a snippet tool, which is under your tools. Where's snippet tool? Accessories or something? Where was it under? Properties? Anyways, the snippet tool, draw a picture and then save it. Yeah. Yeah, so for the Mac, right? You need both hands on this one. So Command Shift 4. Now watch this. Command Shift 4, and then hold Control, and then make a selection. Right? So Command Shift 4, hold Control, make a selection, and then you can just hit Command V, paste. But that'll just paste the original size. Really, really nice shortcut. I really like that one. I use it quite a bit with quick little screen grabs for many things, especially if you're talking to like IT support and you have an issue with something, let's say technical with an email account or a website, and they're like, well, show me what's happening, just screen capture, here you go. And they're like really understanding what you're talking about. So screen capturing is essential to communication, right? So you can see exactly what describe to the person on the other end what the problem is. Anyways, so here it is. Well, make sure you place this separately as an image. When you select an image, oh, by the way, some of you asked me earlier, how do I get my interface? Make sure the top here is visible. If it's not, you have to go under Effect, under Window, Workspace. Please make sure everybody is using Essential Classic Workspace, because if you're not getting the same things I'm getting on my screen. And if you're not getting the same things I'm getting on my screen, it's going to throw you off and it's going to be a little more challenging. We don't want challenges right now. So that means all this stuff is visible. And if you select this blob here, which is a screen grab, like be careful with this, right? So don't just click anywhere. You got to go to this little arrow. This little arrow gives you options of how you want to vectorize the screen grab. You can do what's called silhouette, sketch art, black and white, shades of gray, all these different settings. I think black and white's the best one. Let me try it first before I point you the right. Nope, that's not the one. I think the one that we should use is the silhouette works well, okay? A silhouette means black and white, but it gives you the transparency right away. A silhouette represents like a shadow. You only see like one part. One color, like a silhouette. So let's do the silhouette. Again, you can do colors, but it's not suitable for this. We just want to get a simple redrawing of the shape. So use a silhouette, and you should get that. Now, how do you make it blue? Okay, well, you hit expand. Expand means it's going to expand the vector into its origin. So hit expand, and now you have the blob. You go to the eyedropper, click on the blue, and then basically deselect it. And I told you it's very easy once you know how to use Illustrator to get these things. But then I can just put it back. I wasn't going to let you draw this. Come on. This is going to be really, and it's not perfect, okay? Because, these pixels they're pixels. Like it works better if the image was better quality, right? So now you're going to ask me, well, hold on a second. Can I just do this for everything? Aren't you going to ask me that question? Can we just do this for everything? Why are we drawing? Like, why don't we just image trace everything, right? Okay, well, let me show you why we can't, because AI is not as good as we are when it comes to creativity and getting technical like this, okay? I mean, eventually it might be there, but AI is only good as what you give it. The prompting or information is only given, and it spits out back what you feed into it. So basically, okay, let's do this. See if it's that perfect. Let me do a screen capture. Don't do this, by the way. I'm just proving a point. Let me screen grab this. I'm going to screen grab this myself. Okay, I'm going to paste it. I'm going to go image trace. This one is 3 colors. Okay. What do you think? Right? So good. This will look a lot better if I was to do it by hand than me letting AI to do it. Here, let's do the house that we did, okay? So we're like, okay. Well, can you imagine doing this? This will never ever come out the way we did it, ever, okay? That's why it's better that you do it than letting like AI do it. So what I'm sure you understand my point. It's never going to be as good until you do it yourself and produce a proper vector format. Here, let's see the house. I'm just really curious about the house, okay? I'm just gonna get both of these. Okay, Command Shift 4, hold Control, right? Paste. I'm gonna do 3 colors. Look, see the house? Right. So it's never gonna replace your talent. Okay, I mean it's not. It'll work better if the quality is okay. But when it comes to, you guys recreating something, that's why you're learning these skills. Okay. All right, I think I've proven my point enough now. You want to do one more? And then we'll wrap it up. Which one you want to do next? This is drawing, so forget that. We're just gonna draw more. You're not gonna learn nothing. I suggest use the pen tool if you want to keep practice drawing. Pen tool is better than this. This is just another example. This is just step and repeat with circles and a line. It's not a big deal, but it's not bad either. Want to do this one? Do you know how to draw a star? Right? Or the shield? Oh, this is like the robot we did, the Android logo. Remember the 2 circles cut and, right? So which one do you want to do? This one is another drawing one. You just draw this in 45 degrees. You want to practice this one again? The rotate, step and repeat, or no? You're okay with that? Right. We're not too many options left here. So which one? Give me one more. Come on. We'll do this fast. This one? Okay, let's do this one. Because this one, I think, will present a learning curve at the same time. So for this one, what I would do, I mean, I could trace it with the pen tool, but I'd rather integrate objects. So I would use the elliptical shape, because I'm matching the shape with another shape, and just draw an elliptical shape and simply switch the stroke and the fill so you can see through it. Okay, so that's the first thing you want to do. You want to line it up. You want to make sure it's nicely positioned, perfectly set up like that. So we're good to go for the next step. Okay. And you could do this a little bit if you want. You can squeeze it in. Some others, they call it the Captain America shield. Okay. It looks like the Marvel Captain America shield character. So maybe we'll trap it like this. right? Because this basically traps the entire curvature of the shape, right? Now watch this. Grab the edge, hold Option, and move this over here, right? And the smaller copy is just going to do the same thing. You're just going to do another overlap, and you're going to move this down here, and this will be the actual second object. Let's just squeeze it again. Okay. Here's a trick. Ready? Make sure the second one overlaps the top one, okay? Please make sure it's not the same line like this. So everybody pay attention here. Don't do this or this. This has to be on top of it slightly. It's got to surpass it, otherwise it won't cut properly. So these little details are important when you want to do a clipping. So basically I'm going to color them different and center them. So these two will be perfectly centered. Just to show you what I'm talking about, I'm going to fill this one a different color, right? So this one's going to be orange, right? This one's going to be yellow, just so you can see it, right? So this is on top of that. Oh, you can put on your X-ray vision glasses and press Command Y, and you can see exactly how this should look like. So two circles or ellipses, because they're not perfect. So two elliptical shapes. And all you do next is you cut this one from that one, minus front. You select both of them. You go Pathfinder, excuse me. You go right here, minus the second one, minus front, the same one we use for the house. And you have a perfect elliptical or semicircle shape extracted from the shield. Sometimes it's better to use tactical approach than try to always use the pen tool. Pen tool is good, but use it when you have to. You don't have to always use the pen tool if it's not necessary. So I like to teach you all these little strategic, approaches. So now we have the star. Any ideas how to do the star? Sorry, do you have a question? How would I do the star? Sorry, go ahead. With the star tool. Do you guys know there's a star tool in Illustrator? Okay, it's right here. If you hold the mouse down, look, there's a star tool. What do you know, right? There's a tool for that. I mean, you can use the pen tool and go trace, trace, trace. But the star tool is kind of neat because you can go and make a star, right? You know what else you can do? With the other hand, as you draw the star and holding the mouse down, you can go up, 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 or down, down, down. You can make as many stars as you want. Or a triangle would be the smallest denomination because you can have minimum 3 sides per object. So let's go to the star. I'm going to angle it slightly this way. Right? I'm going to put it right here. Just color it the same green color. Right? And then what? The direct selection tool will be the best thing. I was thinking of skewing and distorting techniques, but it's never going to be perfect. So I think, honestly, be your own be your own decision maker here with this, rather than relying on the effects. I'm going to put this here, put this one down here, move this one over here, and just basically reshape this star according to my image in the background. Okay, so that's exactly maybe the best approach for this is. So you can draw a star, and then you can just see it's close enough. Then you can just basically have a replica of the same one, quietly redistorted. So now you're using strategy, recreating shapes from circles, elliptical shapes, using the star tool, multiple points. The distortion in this case was the direct selection tool, distorting the points around. And finally, this gave us the final design. And after this one, by looking at the rest of these logo challenges, I think they're all just a repeat of everything we just covered. So there's no point even doing any more because all the other ones covered what we did, especially the rings. The rings really helped us understand the intertwining process because that was able to cover some of these as well. Okay. So unless you want to do another one, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to put this one to bed. Okay. It's going to be done. So any questions, anyone? Need any help, maybe? I'm going to hit save. Okay. So let's put this one away. Again, this is being recorded. You can watch the video later and try it again if you have any type of issues. Right. I'm just going to copy this file to this other folder. So it's class number 5. Okay, before we do the next one, I really want to ground you to understand how gradients work, because I don't think we really approach gradients specifically talking about them only. So here's what I want you to do. Go to Illustrator, okay? Open up a new document, so File New. Go to Art and Illustration. Click on the 1920 by 1080p artboard. So it's like your full screen resolution HD TV screen, 1920, 1080p, similar to your television at home. Doesn't matter if it's 4K or 8K, it's the same ratio, right? So let's click on this one here, Art and Illustration, or you can just click on the web page size. Doesn't matter about the size either way. We're going to click Create. And then we have a nice canvas in front of us. I'm going to just stretch my interface a bit. Right. See, with the way the gradients, okay, there's 3 main types of gradients. You can do, let me just draw a rectangle first. If you have like object like this, right? Right, you have an object like this. It's like a pipe or like an actual solid bar or shape. You can either give it a solid fill, which is in this case a white fill, or you can give it a gradient fill. The gradient fill is located, look at my mouse cursor, right in the middle here. That's why I always want this to be 2 columns so I can really explain how this works. And once you apply the gradient, you can then edit the gradient here. This is a palette. This is an older method of using the gradient in Illustrator. You can also do, watch this. You can move the white swatch in the middle. You see the black swatch? Option drag duplicates it. Now you have a copy of it. Option drag, right? You can even click here. You can click or click and add other colors. Basically, if you double click, you can add your own custom color if you double click on the swatch. To get rid of it, watch this. You drag it away like this. Drag it away, and that's how you can control this. To change the color again, you double click. You click on the nice green color or whatever you want. All right. Another way to control the gradient, look, I'll do another one here. We're gonna have Super Mario come out soon, okay? Another way to do the actual gradient, let me show you another way, okay? Using the gradient, it's called annotator. I don't make these names up. They just name them like that. This is the gradient. So this one actually controls the gradient this way. Another thing is you can control which way is being swiped. You can go here, there. You can swipe any way you want. You don't have to constrain yourself to the parameters of the swatches that are being displayed. You can just go like this from here. Look at my mouse cursor. Shift, select, drag, and you can reorient the next. I'll do it this way. I'll reorient the next swipe. And then you can go in here and control these gradient attributes. And this is like the way it's blending. This is the way it's sorting out and so on and so forth. Okay, so obviously that's not really in line with the other one. You know what's another quick way to do it? Let's say this was a solid color. Did you know the eyedropper, the one we used for the house earlier? Did you know the eyedropper picks up everything, not just color? It'll pick up gradient. It'll pick up a font from a typography. It'll pick up a pixel from an image. So watch this. Eyedropper, I'll copy the gradient to match my shape on top. Like that. See? So you don't have to recreate it from scratch. See, if it's something already coexisting, you can always replicate it. Just like you do already. When you do code, you're not going to type the code again. You copy and paste it, and you change your properties or values and stuff. Same with graphics. Once you invest the time to make something, you can change it and duplicate it and replicate it and do that kind of stuff. All right. What's the other type of gradient? Well, the other one is more like a radial gradient, which involves a circle. So this is like a circle, but see, a circle looks really weird if it's, you know, if it looks this way. I mean, it's okay if it's if the top is linear, but this should have a different style of gradients. So therefore, I'm going to show you the next one is under here. This is the gradient tool, everybody. If you're not sure where it is, go to Window and look for gradients. And this little palette will show up. I'm going to switch it to radial, linear, radial. I'm going to get rid of this green here, or maybe just get rid of one of these and just stick with this one. Maybe I'll make this black. It'll be black and white. But I will, however, change the orientation of the gradient like this. Look at this. If you click and drag the mouse, you create your own sunburst style, right? So click and drag the mouse. Do this. And again, you can copy gradients as well with colors. Just simply go, you know, do that. Change it to linear. Okay. I'll just group it. So this is how Illustrator can create more like a, you know, three-dimensional look-alike graphics. They're really 2D, they're not 3D, but they look like 3D. That's why you see more of the modern games and stuff. They're not really unless it's a 3D model, it could be a 3D graphic. But this is 2D. It just looks like 3D because we're adding shade and highlights, the different colors. So in reality, this is a, a simple two-dimensional shape, but because we have the nice artistry of Illustrator, you can pretty much make whatever you want. Okay, this can go in here. So I'll just set this to the back, and there it is, right? Okay, so this prepares us now for the actual big assignment, the in-class exercise, I should call it. Let's quickly just put this away, do a save as. We'll call this gradient exercise. I'll save it as an Illustrator file as well. Okay, so now let's open up the gradient. It's called the sun gradient exercise. Now this is already set up for you, so it should take you not too much effort to understand what's happening, but I have to explain to you how to set it up. So if you open it up, basically, it'll look like that. So when it comes to the Illustrator project that you're doing next, just think, you can recreate almost anything to make it look like a cartoon or caricature or even lifelike. Like this can look like a real person if you invest the time and energy to do the details. So by learning this, you can learn to do more complex illustrations in the program. And you don't have to even be an artist, right? You still have to use the tools that are given to you in the program. You're just tracing, really. So what you're doing is tracing this thing here. Now, I shouldn't have given you the finished version. So do me a favor, select this and just delete it, because we're gonna recreate that, right? But let me just show you what it is so you understand how this object is broken up. Look at the objects, right? Look, you have the eyes, the nose, the head, the little spikes. Look, the mouth, the teeth, the tongue. Like, look at all these little details that are assembled to make this happen, right? It doesn't just happen like that. You have to recreate it. So everything has like faces and objects that are on top. So once you learn this, you can really approach anything and learn how to recreate it. This is why I want you to do this from scratch. So I'm going to press Command A, delete. Okay. And you say, okay, so now what? Well, now you got to open up the layers panel. All right. And you have two layers. I went over this with you last week. Remember, you set up a layer, make it a template, make a new layer, and you trace on top of it, like the letter S. But in this case, you just have to make this visible. Watch this. Just make this visible. So the bottom layer is the one you're tracing from. The top layer is where you're drawing the actual illustration. This is just a reference. This is what you're tracing. So you can go online, find any type of black and white drawing and recreate it. Once you know how to do this, you can do anything. You can do that cruise ship I showed you. You can do like a car. They do a lot of cars now with the engines and the pistons and all the details. It's all technical drawing. So this is just the same approach. Depending on how complex or how simple, doesn't matter. It's up to you what you're drawing. So this is, that's why I love this exercise, because it demonstrates all these things. So are we ready to start? Okay. So everyone's good? Okay. Let me just quickly do a walk around. I want to make sure everybody has it. This is on exercise. Yeah, this is all from sun grade. So Yeah, you gotta dig this up a little bit. If you can't see this, just make this, you gotta stretch this longer so you can make this visible. Otherwise you won't be able to see it. I see some of you are trying to get this to see. So make sure it's visible. It's locked. You can bring in almost anything from the internet. You can even do, like a lot of students, I let them sketch something by hand. If you know how to draw, you can sketch something, and you can take a picture, bring it in, and recreate it in a digital environment. So now you're ready for this. See, I couldn't do this the first day I met you, because you'd be like, well, what's, you know, like, this is like level 10 all of a sudden, right? So now that we've done a lot of work in this program, you're more familiar. Now we can do this, no problem. Okay. So I have the confidence in you that you can do it. So let's get started. So the approach is this. You always start, like, you don't want to start at the nose or at the eye, because then you're dealing with the objects that are in front. Picture it like a sticker. You start at the very back. You would technically start at the big circle, because that's at the back. Everything else is in the front. This big circle here, which is a gradient, will be at the back. We'll do the rays after. Don't worry about the rays. Ignore that, because I know that looks like it's in the back. Let's just worry about the circle. And then we'll do the eyes. Then we'll do the eyebrows. Then the nose. Then the mouth. Then the freckles. You see the approach? You always start at the back, working to the front. The bigger shapes, the smaller shapes. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is, let's say you start here, right? Then when you get to this, you're going to have to send this to the back, to the front, to the back. You're going to do a lot of that, which is very frustrating. So if you take the right approach, not only it's less frustrating, it's easier to execute. So I'm showing you the proper way to do it. So therefore, let's draw the circle first. The elliptical tool, start from here, hold shift. Don't tell me it's already drawing the sun. I wasn't expecting this, by the way. Are you getting the same thing I'm getting? Okay. If you're not, don't worry. Just press D. D for default if you're getting a white fill, no stroke. Because over here, you have the swatches. Look, window, swatches. Swatches are the colors that are saved inside the library. This is already pre-designed for you. So here you have the, look, you have the face, the starburst, the brown, the eyes, the tongue, the teeth, the accents. All the colors are saved. So if you're doing this and you want to save colors, so how do these colors appear here? Because I set it up for you, right? But if you're going to do this on your own, how would you set these colors up? Well, you can basically reflect the, let's say I want to make my own, just to show you how to make colors, right? Let's say I want to go here, I'll draw like a simple, you don't have to do this part, you're just watching. Let's say I want to do a swatch. It's called a swatch. You see this blue here? I want this blue to become a swatch. Well, you don't drag this here, because that's not going to work. It's going to become a pattern. What you do is you drag this. You drag this, the color from here to there, like this. Look, drag and drop. Okay, so please remember that. Some people make the mistake and then they get the wrong thing in there. So don't drag the square rather than the color in there. Okay, good. Now that we know that, and we don't have to worry about the colors because they're already, because you can look, you can put it here. See, I can put it here, I can put it there. So we don't need this color. I just did that to demonstrate. So what I'm saying is this is easy because all the colors are saved for us here. So we just have to hit the gradient tool right here, the gradient. We'll change it to linear. We're going to control the linear gradient to go from here to there, like this. The white and the black. So the white swatch, we're going to double click. I'm sorry, I can't make these a little bigger. Can we make them bigger? No, can't make them bigger. You got to be really like kind of keen on the visual here. So this is the face. I'm going to go with yellow, and the black is going to be this orange, right? So it's going to look like that. So basically, I was able to pick these colors from the bottom. By me picking a gradient, I was able to switch the colors around based on that. Again, make sure this is visible, because if you're not sure, you can do the watch. I'll do it again. Pick a gradient. Okay, pick any gradient. Go to the gradient tool. Go from the center. Oh, change it to make sure it's radial. Look, radial, linear, radial. Make sure it's radial gradients, and then swipe it this way. Okay, and then the colors. You double click. We're going with the yellow. This other color here, the orange. So you have the orange and the yellow. And then you can press Command Y or Control Y to see through it. Very important to switch between outline mode and preview mode. Going to View, Preview, or View Outline. So get used to the shortcut of switching back and forth. And trust that you did what you did, right? So you can see it here. Another thing I want to point out, this is like the main piece, like the head. The head holds everything. So I don't want to keep interfering, because when we do selection and stuff, it's very hard to not to select the background, and you can always, it's an interference factor. So what I recommend you do is you lock it. So right click. Well, I just know the shortcut. Do it from up here. Object, lock, selection, Command 2, Control 2 on the PC. Lock the selection because I don't want this to move or be selected by accident. So it's easier for us to create the shapes on top of it. It's just a nice strategy that I want to share with you. But ultimately, you can always go like this. Command Y, Command Y. So once it's done, you can unlock it, and then it's done. So lock the big gradient in place. So Command Y, zoom in. Here we go. So I select it. I go to Object, Lock, Selection, Command 2. Let me do it again. Watch. Object, Lock, Selection. I got it now visible if you want to see. Lock, Selection. So when you lock the selection, it's a good question because how do you select to unlock? Because it's locked. So the objective is to unlock everything. That's the only way to kind of reverse it. So you go to Object. How do you unlock? Good question. Unlock all. And then everything's unlocked. I'll relock it again. Can we keep going? Yeah. Actually, that's a good question too. You could go to layers and technically, but you got to really like undig it and unlock it this way. You could, yeah. You can also do that. Yeah, smart. Good point. Okay, so now when you press Command Y or Control Y, you can now go to the rest of the details. So you can see here, this is the eyes. We're gonna get right to the hardest part because this involves like multiple shapes. Here's the elliptical shape. I'm gonna draw a circle like that. And I'm going to use the gradient. So if you press Command Y, you can see it's already a gradient. Look, see it's already a gradient tool, right? And then you can use the gradient annotator to change this to become, what color is the eyes here? So it's like a white and a gray. So I'm going to go from white to gray like this. So this here will be, oh look, this is called the eye, the white, and this is the gray. Right? So it's a little bit, it's more like a three-dimensional kind of look. Command Y, right? Right? And then we have the rest is like really simple. It looks complicated, but it's simple. It's just a bunch of circles, really. So if you go back to the circle tool, this is another shape here. It's a perfect circle, right? I think this is the this is the blue one. So watch this. I'm gonna select this and make this light blue. This one will be dark blue. I think I'm glitching. It's not picking my color for me. I'm just gonna save it and restart my program. If this happens to do the same thing, I'm gonna go File, Save. I'm gonna quit Illustrator and restart it. Because it's getting, when I see something weird like that, I know right away it's just something happened to the program. So by the way, just reopen it. And it should open again. Make sure my recording is on still. Very good. It's recording. Let's try this again. The gradient tool. There, now it's working. You see that? It literally wasn't working at one point, and I had to reset it. So this will be the dark blue, or this will be the light blue. That'll be the dark blue. Right. Nice. Okay, and then I'll go to the gradient annotator tool. I'm going to do this. Look at that. Okay, just concentrate the blue nice and strong. So it's right on the edges. So it's got that nice three-dimensional kind of look. It's all about the details, right? Right? It's all about the little details. We'll take out the black outline when we're done. But now I'm going to press Command Y again. This time, these are easy ones. They're just black and white, the circles. So this one is the, look, I'll draw from the center out. Option drag. This will be a solid black. Just press D, switch it to black, and the outline can be none. And then press Command Y again. And these other two white circles are just going to be the smaller ones. Simply just go like this. And basically, this is the other circle as well. Option drag, resize. Doesn't have to be perfectly in place, but it does help if you do a good job. And ultimately, this is what's going to end up looking like, right? So the tricky part was the gradients. And once you master that, you can do a lot of cool things. And the reason why I lock this is I can go like this now. Watch. Select, group, Command G, and now have a copy and copy to the other side. You think I was going to make you do this again twice here? I mean, you can practice if you want, but why not just do, Option drag and copy to the other side and basically, resize this a lot smaller. This is smaller than that one. We can even go into our own transformation, right? It's okay. Let's transform. Perfectly like that. Once you do one, the other one's easy. And congratulations, you just did the most advanced part of the exercise. Because I find the eye the most difficult one. Not to say the other ones are that easy. There's a few challenges up ahead. But this is the approach that you understand and execute on this level. Okay, so from the back to the front, locking, unlocking, picking colors, using the gradient annotator tool, and basically being very strategic on your approach. And again, I'm switching Command Y, Command Y. It's the setup that's most important. This wouldn't work if this layer wasn't set up like this. You see how it's a template layer? Look, you see it's a template. It won't work. If I forgot to check this little thing on, if you press Command, you won't be able to see through the object to the artwork. You have to have template on for this to work the way it does. But that's what makes it special. All right, so I'll give you some time to get there, and then we'll do the next one. We'll do the eyebrows next, by the way. I want to get a little more fancy here. I can select, these little reflections here and change the opacity to 90%. So it'd be like a little bit of transparency, right? So you do the whole thing like this, right? Did you lock this? Make sure this is locked. Yeah. So then you can just go like this and Option drag to the other side. Group them as well. Object, unlock all. Just click second. Lock it again. Good. And then you can just select it now. Group it, Command G. Press Command Y. You can see it blue. One. Okay. Try with the weight in first, just make sure this is good. That's what you need rather than use. So that's I can press that. Switch to the video. Here. Here. Just click right here. Practice. You can make your own from scratch anytime you want. You can then go inside and move that around. And then one more thing in colors. You double click. Never mind. Double click here on this one. There you go. There's a light yellow, right? Black one there. Double click. There's orange. Those two are for that. You roll over it, the little folder tells you it's called the face. Okay? Then you can like reposition it. Okay? Well, does it look okay? Make that bigger than that. This one. This pattern. Just drag it down. See that? See it? Yeah. Okay. Let's just wait. Like fill. You see when you're doing that, you want to click on the fill to be at the front. Now, there you go. See how it's at the front? Now you can pick the color. Right? Press Command Y. Okay. The colors are a little off, but you can always fix that. So just click on the one. The other one's okay. Just that one. Okay. So that one. Just make it look. The one in the back. Oh, sorry, that's blue. Or, sorry, that one's blue. That one's white. We can give it a nice gradient thing like I did too. Thank you. Welcome. Okay, just one over here. Oh, you're having fun there, right? Too much fun. I like that. I'm gonna have to use that for my next exercise. That's cool, actually. I like that one. It's good. Okay, so once you get this, it's just nothing changes. It's the same thing. You just getting better and knowing how to do all these little intricate details. But here's another thing. We're doing this once a week. I know I see you every Thursday at night. Not that the fact that it's kind of later in the evening. Some of you are tired. Some of you maybe have you have a job, you're busy, you have other classes. I know this is not the only class. You're only investing time with me here. I promise you, if you invest another 3 hours on your time to practice this, you're going to be that much more better. So try to practice a little more when you can on your time. Okay? Because coming here once a week, I know you're winging it, you're doing okay, but some of you need a little more practice, okay? So please do that. It's for your own good. And this, as you can see, this program is an amazing program to learn and take advantage of the situation that you're here with me and you're learning this stuff, because it's only gonna get easier and better as you learn it, okay? So let's keep going. Command Y. This is the eyebrow. This doesn't look that difficult. A little bit of pen tool drawing. Click on the pen tool, press D for default. I'm just gonna go click. Just click and drag the mouse here. I'm just clicking and dragging the mouse. Again, it comes down to the pen tool here. Right? And even then, if it's not perfect, you can always smoothen it out. Right? And this is just a shape, really. You're going to go under the accents here. You can sample the gradients. See, like just do the eyedropper. And then switch this to become, I think it's a linear gradient from what I look here. We're going to go to the gradient tool and just swipe it this way. And from the actual palette, look at this. I'll switch it back to linear. So it's going to look like this, basically, right? Linear gradients. And the accents are here. If you go to the actual colors, this is the light brown. This is the dark brown. and there's like an orange color underneath. So you want to like copy and paste this, option drag it, and switch this to the orange. I think it's like the accent color, I guess. Right? And bring this to the front. Right? So there's like two there, right? And I'll just take out the stroke. Once I'm done, I'll just take out the stroke. So it looks like an actual fill, and it reflects this type of, you know, effect, right? And then you just copy and paste it. Look, copy and paste this to the other side. And let me show you a nice little technique here. Let me just make sure you do it first. This is the technique. First, I'll group these together. Okay, I want you to watch, everybody to watch this for a second, okay? Because I know you can do this. It just takes some pencil time. So option drag, right? Command Y. Look at this eyebrow. How am I going to do that one? This is called a crossover. You grab one side, you cross it over to the other side, like it's like a flip, and you just flip this over that way, and you make it a little smaller. You just make it fit. You just customize it manually to make it fit properly. Okay, so it's just a little bit of adjustments back and forth. Just a little practice, right? And that's how you can basically execute that little part there. The nose is just as easy. It's another gradient, basically, copied from the head. So I'm going to go ahead and use the circle tool. Just hold shift, right? Look at this. Eyedropper, click on the head, becomes a gradient. And just redirect the orientation. Maybe I'll do it like, oh, a lot of you I see are still kind of mixing up these two things. Okay? You gotta command this, okay? You can't work like this. So now I want to use a gradient. I'm clicking on the gradient. We're watching this? Clicking on the gradient, but nothing's showing up. Why? Because the stroke is being called out. You got to call out the fill. The fill's the gradient. So the only way this will work if this is in front of that. So please make sure you pay attention to this small detail. Otherwise, you're going to have a little struggle. I saw some of you do that earlier. So always call out the gradient in the front. So basically, you just have to go click. Just simply clicking here eliminates that problem. A small thing, but an important thing. You're going to see it all the time. So that little thing right there, now you can see this. Okay? I mean, I wish they made this program easier, but there's a few things I know they could improve on the development, but that's just how it is, right? I know XD is pretty easy, but it's a simple program. So simply I'll just drag this over like that, and this becomes my gradient, okay? I'll take off the stroke. Look, no stroke, back to the fill. You see what I just did there? Small thing, but important thing. I'm going to take out the stroke, right? So watch my actions. I call the stroke to the front, I make it none, and I put the fill back on the front. You see, I do these little things naturally without thinking about it. I just do it. These are the little things, if you do over and over again, like anything else, becomes repetitive. You know, it becomes an instinct, like instinctual action. Because you're going to go back and forth. It's like a flow, right? Then you go to the next one. Let's get rid of all these strokes. So go to the stroke. There we go. No stroke. All right. We'll just do a few more things here. Okay, the mouth looks pretty complex too. It involves some shapes. Yes, it does. So you have to literally go use the pen tool for this one. So pen tool, you click here, across once. Watch this, halfway, click and drag, like that, all the way up here. Click and drag. So basically a few clicks. Command Y, and there's the mouth. The mouth has like a gradient built in. So we simply go to the gradient, call it out to the front. Remember, always bring the gradient in front of the stroke. Otherwise, you can't address the properties properly. So in this case, I'm going to double click here. And this is the gradient for the mouth. I think that's the right color. I just have to switch the type of gradient that I have. So in this case, it is a linear gradient. Like that. See, it's like a linear gradient, so it looks like three-dimensional. That's how we're gonna position this. All right. The teeth are easy. You again notice we go from the back to the front. So now we're doing the teeth and the other little accents. So then I go ahead and draw the teeth and the tongue. Another pen tool thing, you click and drag the mouse, cut, 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 click and drag, cut it again, all the way across. So then the teeth become like this, but apparently they're this color. So if I go back to the gradient annotator here, I simply double click. I think I go with this one, and this is this one. I'm gonna just simply really bring this up like that. There we go. Yes, you could rotate the gradients. You can rotate it, stretch it, move it, position it, do all these things. All right. This is just two circles cut in half, extracted. I'm going to go ahead and do just one here. The gradient tool. This will be a radial gradient. So a lot of times I got to go here, switch it from radial to linear, radial to linear. This is another repetitive thing. You have to do it subconsciously and just be mindful of it. So let's just do one of these. This becomes there's the tongue, light pink. This becomes the darker pink, right? So it becomes like that. Oops. Right? Command Y. Option drag. There's the other one. I think this one's in front of that one. So let's just put this one in front. Now, how do I cut this right through here? Well, watch this, right? I only have one copy of this and two copies of that. So therefore, I'm going to hit Command C, copy, just because I'm going to recollect that part later. So copy the mouth, and then I'm going to go bring this to the front. So right click, arrange, bring to front, or just use the shortcut, right? Then select the two circles with the ellipse, right click, make clipping mask. And then paste. Because remember we pasted that part. But this part can go in the back. Well, not all the way back. You can go back one step at a time. One step at a time. Which is send to back, send to back. I went Command, left square bracket. Let me show you again. So this is go, see, arrange. Not all the way to the back. Backward. Backward once. Backward twice. So arranging, look, the very first class that we were here, I was covering this. Grouping objects, arranging objects, moving objects. So now we're doing it more advanced, more expanded. We're using more, advanced gradients, which again takes a little practice, but it's all here. Yeah. So I made a duplicate of this. I made a copy of it. Copy, right? And then I'm going to back it up a bit here. Right? So this one, I made a copy, right? And to cut something out from the back, once it's copied, now I know I can paste it later. I'm going to bring it to the front. So right click, arrange, bring to front. And now I select whatever I want to cut. So I select this circle, and that shape. And then I right click and I make a clipping mask. This is the most advanced function in this program. It's so advanced that Photoshop even copied it. Other programs call it mask, like XD has a mask option too. When you do like a nice fancy hover pop-up menu, it's got a mask. And then the menu drops down, you click, and then you go to the app. Same thing, but it's more interactive. This is more static, but it's still implemented the same way. So when I make a clipping mask, it's just gonna clip that out, right? Look, it just clips it out. And then I just paste whatever I copied before to strategically put this back where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to move it here, right? Command Y, and then step back, and just move it in shape here. Right? This is being recorded, so if you want to watch me later and try it again slowly, trust me, if you practice this and the S and this together multiple times, you're going to get really good at this program, because this covers a lot of things. It covers gradients, masking, object duplication, tracing, drawing, everything in one. That's why this is my favorite intermediate advanced drawing exercise, right? Because once you learn this, you can draw anything you want, anything. An object, a person, a face, All right, so next is we can do a little decals, the little blemishes and stuff, the spots. That's just easy. Little circles here. Just going to draw the shape here. Right? This is just a solid color. Right? Option drag. Option drag. And then when you have all four done, all you do is you drop the opacity down to like 35. Right? 35 pixels, maybe 25. Right? 25. And then you copy these over here and you do the same thing, because the little details make a difference. Doesn't have to be exactly the same, but I'm just doing my best here to make it pretty close to the original. Okay. And then of course you can group these when you're ready. Command G, right? And that's it. I mean, you can get the little details, but I think that's enough in terms of explaining how to start any type of illustration from start to finish, all right? And you can get its technical, like there's one more technical level on top of this, and I'll show you that next week. That's using the mesh tool. And that's really getting to the Picasso side of things when you do the blending objects and colors. Again, it's not necessary. This is just as good, but that one just gives you more freedom in a way that maybe you might like, okay, besides this option here. But this traditionally, this is like what people like to use Illustrator for. Gradients, fills, solids, whatever. All right, so one more. Let's just finish this with the back. It's got the sun rays. For that one, I'm just gonna, like, I can copy each one and trace it, but why when I can use step and repeat? Remember that we did last week? So let's count the sundials. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This 10. 10 divided by 360 is 36. Okay, so that means if I draw 1, I should be able to do the same type of, and I'm just going to do this very quickly. Right? So watch how I'm going to do this part. Command Y. Remember that you know this because we did it last week and the week before. I got to rotate this. It doesn't have to be perfectly aligned as long as it goes perfectly 10 times around. So I don't care if the position's exact because we're just recreating it. But this is the center right here. This is the center of this big circle. So that means if I have this selected, if I go to the rotate tool, if I hold option and I click over here with option, I'm going to get the dialog box to show up. Remember this one? And we put 36 degrees because 36 times 10 is 360. And then we hit the copy button. The copy's over here, right? And then I press Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D, right? Now I should have let me just select all of them like this quickly. Shift select, send to back. And then select all of them and take out the stroke. Doesn't let me, so I gotta, actually, let me just do it again. There, okay. One more thing with, let me do object unlock all, because lastly, I want to take this one also away from the equation, and now I can go ahead and hide the background layer because this one is basically finished. And of course, you can fix it up and stuff, but I think it's done. All right. So just to show you some examples of what's online here, any type of, you know, we'll get into the meshes next week, but this is the kind of realistic stuff you can do. We'll just do. All right. Now let's look at the project. The big project for this class, not the exam, but the project that you have to do here is this one here. So the main project is called the application splash banner. This is a very, very good, one of my favorite projects because you get to create an art piece for yourself. And this will go down, you know, in your creative portfolio. So do you guys know what a splash banner is? Right? Every time you go to a program like Illustrator or Photoshop or whatever, as soon as you go to About Illustrator, it'll give you like a banner like this one, right? But did you know if you hold Shift and you go About this Illustrator or Option or Command, there's like a shortcut. In Photoshop, it does an Easter egg. A cat meows and stuff like weird stuff these guys do, the developers on the back end. So anyways, I don't see the banner in this version, but it does show up. When you launch Illustrator first, it gives you a preview, right? If you're not sure, you can just always look it up. You can see Illustrator. Watch this, Illustrator splash banner, splash screen. All right, so these are all the ones that were from the previous versions, right? Aphrodite, which is this lady here, she was like the iconic drawing from all the versions. Like, you want to see version 1? Look, this was like Illustrator 1. They had her from day 1, 1988. Okay. Then they, Illustrator 4.1. It's like 1991 or something like that, right? Then this is when I started learning Illustrator. Illustrator 8. That's when I was learning this program. Back in 97, 98. Okay, that's when I was using Illustrator. So it used to look like that. And then you have other versions that look like this. And so she was quite popular up until 2000 something. Then they switched it up and said, you know what, let's change it up a bit. Then they started getting to this kind of stuff, right? This kind of stuff, and this kind of stuff, and this kind of stuff. Some abstract work and so on and so forth, which is all good. But they wanted to showcase different illustration type of effects, okay? So eventually, they changed it up. I have a feeling they're going to bring her back again soon, though. Eventually, they bring things back all the time. So maybe this is your chance to bring her back, or you can do something completely different. Whatever you want to do, any theme, you're going to recreate the splash banner for Illustrator. Now make it look like an actual banner, okay? So replicate. So this is your job to recreate this banner. So this is your specifics. So they need a new, and they pick students like you for the next version. So if you're on Behance, you guys know Behance, right? You can post your work there, and you never know, like there's a competition, they might choose your design. Then your name goes on their software. That's pretty cool in your portfolio. Now you get recognized instantly. They might even pay you. They're gonna give you like an award, a couple of $1,000s, whatever. They throw you as a prize. It's pretty good, right? So, you never know what can come of this. The purpose of this assignment is to show the real potential of the software tools and capabilities to create digital drawings. You're to utilize all the techniques you have learned throughout the term and generate a software banner for the next release of Adobe Illustrator. This also has a real potential as many creative banners are chosen with, I just said, Behance, website, network. You can publish the same thing to generate a lead towards the next potential pick. So this is it right here. If you look at the actual PDF, okay, I used an older version here. I just copied and pasted that. So learning objective, correct file setup for online screen display delivery, drawing technique along with various tools and methods to create an application banner, a great review of the application as a whole, and a time pressure objective. So that's why you have to meet a deadline. Delivery details. How big is this banner? The size of the banner is 700 by 500 pixels at 72 dpi. It varies in size, but we'll just pick this one for now. 700 by 500. You are to utilize a little bit of everything you have learned throughout the term. And don't forget, we'll have another class next week and the one after that. So this is not due until like the very end of the half of the semester. And illustration is to also be included with the overall design along with type. So I want you to incorporate typography, which I'll cover next. We did a little bit of the logo, but I'll cover some more typography that you can put here. So just like any of these creative assignments, you have a criteria, creative, and a technical. Now the rubric is always like out of 10, then it goes down to 8 or 7. So sometimes I want to give you like an 8.5. So I have to take one from here into there in case you question, why am I getting 9 or 8 on this and 10 of that? Because there's no real breakdowns, right? So I got to sum it up somehow. The total is what counts. Okay, just so you know, that's how the rubrics are made. So that's how you get criteria is 10, creative is 10, technical is 10. These are the checklist. You have to follow all these things. So I want to make sure you include drawing tools, paint methods, solid colors and gradients, which we covered today. Pathfinder techniques. We've been covering that since day one. Object editing and grouping. That's a given. Layers and sub-objects. Did that as well. Stroke and fills. Proper use of symbols. That we haven't covered yet, but I'll show you next week. Creating outlines when necessary. Proper use of grids and guides. Proper packaging the project with fonts and sources. Let's do that right now. Okay, how do you package the job properly? Let's say I want to hand this in. Yeah. Did I show you any yet or no? Like this? How about I show you something better? Why don't I show you what my students did last semester? Forget these guys. Let me show you my real talent, okay? Next semester, it'll be your projects. I'm going to show to my next students, right? See, no pressure. But yeah, this is, if you just Google Illustrator splash banner, you'll see all kinds of different examples. I think I have some samples here to show you. I would love to show you my students' work as always. But how do I package this? Like, how do I make this and package means basically if you have like a font, create outlines. Whenever you want to package artwork, it becomes one piece, right? So let's say I want to hand this in. Well, let's say I want to make a banner. Let me do one quickly, right? File, new. Okay, watch this. New banner. I'm going to go to web. 700 pixels wide. 500 pixels tall. Right? RGB color mode. Screen resolution. Create. Okay, so there's my splash banner. I'm going to use this artwork that I just made because I invested a lot of time in this, right? Copy and paste. Make sure this is in the front. Send this to the back. This will be send this to the back as well. Let me just put another color here somewhere. I'll mix it up a little bit. I'll do this, this, and that. Right? Maybe I'll put some kind of a wave or something like that in between. How do I put an anchor point in here and bend it somehow? I can always use the pen tool, add anchor point tool. If you click anywhere here, right? And then if you use this one here, it's called the anchor point tool, you can actually distort the curve and make it like wavy and stuff. Doesn't always have to be straight. So this now becomes at the front. So some kind of a element of differentiation here. And then that means the back now could be also something else that can integrate with my colors and such, right? I want this to have like a drop shadow maybe in the back. So I'm going to go to Effect, Stylize, Drop Shadow. Okay, so that'll be kind of like in the background. So it'll pop up a little bit. So this is an effect. Maybe that'll work a bit. And of course, I'm going to have to put a lot of these details that go along with my Illustrator program. So one detail is see all this stuff? Oops. Right, you can copy and paste that. You can get some of these formalities and stuff in there. You can literally copy the logo of Illustrator. Make this look authentic. You can't, like, don't give me this. Make it look like a real banner. So that means you have to go to great lengths. I have to go to look up the Illustrator logo. Right? And I'll just grab this logo here. Look, you don't have to recreate this stuff, right? you can just reuse stuff that's already there, okay? You can just reuse the stuff that's there and just, you know, make it look like proper. Then I'll type in Adobe Illustrator, like the software, banner, Illustrator, splash banner. I'm going to use this one as an example, okay? I'm going to save this to the desktop for now. Actually, that's a bad, this was a better one here. So right click, save image as. This looks more like in line with what I'm doing here. Like this beautiful background design. Okay, so here's the screen capture, right? So Adobe Illustrator Creative Cloud CC. So that means if I go here, make sure I put the same stuff. Right, make this bold. Make this a little bigger. So this will be in line with that logo, right? So everything will be matched perfectly. Maybe this now, this background here, maybe I'll make it like a little darker. Okay, so it'll be like an actual different background, right? So I can go with that, and then I can match it to my specs here that I have. So maybe I'll copy all this. This, by the way, is a 2024 release. Right? So how do you, when you copy and paste text, you draw a text box, and you just go paste. And then I'm just going to make this this color here, and so on and so forth. So I can do all this little, it's the details that are important. This is 2024 version. And whatever you want to put there, it's up to you. But make it look realistic so it looks like an actual software, right? So it looks right with the details, make it look legit. Okay? So then next thing I want to do now is add the Creative Cloud logo. That's very important. As you can see, this is Creative Cloud. As you know, that runs all these programs. So let's go ahead and get the CC or Creative Cloud logo. Some students like to make the logo. That's fine too. I like the black and white version. You know why? Because I can make it my own color after. Oh, here we go. Remember that trick I taught you earlier? You can literally do this. See, this will work, right? If you have a nice, this is an image. This is not a vector. But because it's so good of a quality, you could go here, image trace, and do a silhouette. Right? And then you can do what's called expand, and now you can color it whatever color you want. Make it part of your design. Now this is your vector file, right? So you could do things like that if you want, right? Let's make it even here 50%. Let's make it white, whatever. You'll switch it up a bit. Okay, a little too bright. Right, there we go. So it's the same color. And you put, you know, Adobe Creative Cloud. Creative Cloud. Oops. Right? Anyways, you get the idea, right? I'm giving you 2 weeks to do this. Okay, so I'm sure you do a good job. And then, of course, I'm looking at the artwork, the illustration, the presentation, everything. So you save it as an Illustrator banner. This is going to be Illustrator splash banner, splash banner example. And how do you package the job? Because this might have fonts and stuff that people don't have. You can't just give this to anyone because one, they won't have the program. Two, they might not have the fonts. So the way Illustrator has a way to do it's called package. It packages, maybe you have images. You're not gonna have images here, but let's say you do. Just like a website, you have href for images that support the website, the code, the HTML, the CMS, the CSS. You got the images. Same thing here. You might have images that are here that support the illustration. So what you do is you package it, and this includes the links. the fonts, and it creates a report. So if I go package it now, excuse me, it should be right here. There's the folder. In this folder, you'll find the illustration, the report, and the fonts, and images that are supporting the document. So then this becomes a zip file. You compress this. Please put your name. Please put your name on the files, because I have to literally type your name on your file when I download and look at your work. So put your name. So this way, don't put it after you zip it, because when I unzip it, it still opens the folder. You understand? So basically, do this. Put your name first. Put your name first, and then zip the file. Okay? Right? And this is what you hand in. Because when I open it up, I see all your work. Now, do you want to see some student examples? Okay. I need water. Okay, so let me see here. Fall web production. Where's the projects here? Outlines. Oh. Let's see if it's in another folder here. I don't have the samples here with me. Sorry. Because I cleaned my computer and I'm looking at my hard drive. It's not here. How about this? I'll bring it next week, okay? But look at the internet. Look at the splash banners. All the students looked at the same thing that you did. I'll show you my students' work. Maybe what I'll do is I'll post some pictures if you guys want. I'll just show you next week, okay? I'll show you next week. But now think of what you want to do. I want the best that you can do, right? you just do your best, okay? You'd be amazed. It's about the creativity, you know? You can do something very simple, but you can present it really well. We have a saying back home, it goes, you know, you can sell something, but you can sell it for high value. It's how you present it, right? That's the real secret to anything, okay? So having said all that, I'm going to wrap it up right now. I wish you all a good week ahead. And I'm going to stop the recording, and I'll see you in the next class, and I'll show you those samples next week, I do promise. Bye for now. Just going to record. Stop recording. Okay, see you later.